Hello, everybody. I am SunPsychic Jean. Please welcome my very special co-host for today, Daphne from Relax with Daphne. Hi, Daphne.
Hi, Jean. Thank you so much for inviting me. I love coming over here and hearing from your audience. You always have so many fun people here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for coming. And I am so excited to have a part two, so to speak, of our tree special that we had a few weeks back. And if anybody hasn't had a chance to see that yet, I encourage you to go back and watch the part one of our series. And what it is we went through a little bit about our experience with tree and um, our understanding, and maybe we want to share a little bit again about what tree spirit is that we're talking about and connecting to today. And it's not gnomes and fairies. So, do you want to share and let us know sort of how we can understand what spirit is?
Yes, well, I've spent the last 3 years working with plants in general and a lot of very specific trees. And my experience has been that trees themselves, individual trees, are one facet of the consciousness that informs all trees on this planet. And different species are quite different in how they communicate with me, how they interact with me, the things they want to talk about, the information that they want to share. And it's really fascinating. One of my teachers would call it multidimensional spirit because not only is a physical tree here in this density with us, but that individual tree is part of a larger consciousness related to that spirit and is I don't really understand yet how trees and the earth and the sentient being that is the earth work together yet. I'm still trying to understand my own relationship with trees, but there's so much to discover in relationship with trees. And my dream is that everyone who hears this episode today with Eugene is that they will take an opportunity for themselves to try and connect with the tree.
Absolutely. I encourage that too. I think that's a wonderful I think that's a wonderful intention for this show today. And there's so much to cover, and we just wanted to talk a little bit about reviewing. It's The question was um, why it's important for humanity to appreciate Earth and all of its uh, nature's creations. Appreciation and gratefulness and reverence and honoring the earth and all of nature's creations is very important. They With everything in life, they do they deserve our respect, and they are there's like a reciprocity to it. Like it's not like sun turn on every day. I want you to turn on every day. I need the sun. It's not a one-way thing. And we just take things for granted when the sun is out every day. And when we just take a moment, a few seconds, a fraction of a second to say, oh, that sun feels great. I'm so happy for the sun. I'm so grateful for the sun. Thank you, sun, for coming out. It magnifies and brings so much joy and fills the sun and any sentient being. When you say, oh, thank you, trees, with the rustling of the leaves in the trees and the wind, the way it dances with the trees, and how beautiful that sound is, it's like an appreciation. And, you know, and recently I did a reading for a dear woman, and her sister had passed recently, about a month ago. And I brought her sister through, and her sister said, dear sister, please take care of your health. Please take care of your body. Please take care of this sacred container that holds your divine essence. and appreciate and respect, honor, and take care of this vessel that is holding your precious divine soul, because her sister did not, she wishes she would have taken better care of herself, and asks and pleads with her sister to take care of her body, her health. And then her sister that I'm bringing through says to Jean, Jean, you too take care of this sacred biological uh, 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 or organic material that is housing our divine soul. I mean, the miracle and the appreciation and the um, respect that is needed, or um, that is required, or not required, but requested and encouraged. They encourage us. And it's I am a nature's creation. Every human is a nature's creation. The trees are a nature's creation. The birds, the sun, the sky, the air. And it's really important, because we are sentient beings, because we have a soul or a spirit essence, and we have this energy and this magnetic type of energy with us. When we share gratitude as an intention, it really does lift and enhance the spirit and the energy of those other nature's creations around us.
Absolutely. And if you like a little science with your woo woo, think about all the work the Heart Math Institute has done, where they measure the heart, the energy of the human heart to 3 feet out in front of us. And when we express gratitude, our entire nervous system relaxes and goes from fight and flight into the rest, digest, and heal mode. So, what I find really interesting is that they are now working with trees to understand tree energy. And I think they will, perhaps they already know where they're going, but I assume that they're going to start to understand how trees and human beings are natural co-creators in this world, right? Like trees are our elders on this planet. They precede the appearance of humans on this planet by a long, long time. And we cannot survive without them because they're the source of our oxygen. We breathe out CO2, they breathe in CO2, they breathe out oxygen, we breathe in oxygen. We are meant to be together. And it is a millennia long love story. And one of the greatest sources of joy in this world, I believe, is reconnecting with nature in the reciprocal relationship that you're talking about, one where you are appreciative and respectful of the sentience of trees, and they in turn return that love to us. And it's wonderful to hug trees, it's wonderful to talk to your plants. The next step is listening to them
Mm.
and seeing, using all of your clairs to work with a plant and work with a tree. There's very little in this life that is as satisfying as making that connection with nature. It is just it is it's an unstoppable source of joy in this world. So yeah, I'm, as you can tell, I'm rather enthusiastic about talking about trees.
Yeah, and all of nature's creations, and it's really fascinating, and it, it's so I just wanted to tell everybody a little. I know we mentioned this story before in the last show, but I just wanted to tell everybody, in case they weren't there, about the first time that I connected with a tree. Um, in a spiritual sense. I was taking a Reiki class, and they took us outside, and they said that we're going to be feeling the energy of the tree, because in order for us to feel the energy of a human and the energy that we're talking about, they wanted us to be able to feel energy. And they said that the tree is very giving and very communicating with us with their energy. It's one of the most palpable, easiest type of energies to feel and see. And so they took us outside, and and I was like, "Oh, I thought we were going to do Reiki. Why am I doing this? What? And I was like trying to greet the tree and listen to the tree and feel the tree. And then I was like thinking in my head, I wonder what time we're going to have lunch. And then I went, it was like I felt like a presence. I could feel like just an energy, a presence, almost like capturing my attention. It's like I was thinking about something and then it pulled my attention. And it's a very, very subtle energy and it's very inviting. And I would like to invite each of you to, if you could, if you have the opportunity to greet a tree, and you can, I don't know, you can try sitting in your car and looking at a tree and greeting it. I think, but if you have the opportunity, it doesn't matter how big or how small, but just to talk to the tree and greet the tree each day or each morning, or speak to them and see if you don't feel, sense, or hear something back. Um, yeah, and you also had a tree encounter. Did you want
Uh,
to? Do you remember the one that
yeah,
you
yeah.
talked about?
I don't remember which specific one I talked about, but I would encourage uh, to follow on what you were just saying. Is I would encourage people to, if you're having trouble discerning energy, when you're working with a tree, one thing you could do is you could stand outside the drip line, which is where like the edge of the tree branches go. Like you can stand outside of that and then step into it and step out of it and step into it and see how your body responds to that energy. That is a really good way to start easing into that sensation, that discernment of tree energy. And yeah, and one of the stories I don't think I've told your audience is that a few months before I started working with my main plant mentor, I was caring for somebody else's house, and I had forgotten that they had a little palm tree downstairs in a pot. And it's one of those little short ones, right? They're called Erica palms, I think. And it was probably, I don't know, I was probably there 3 weeks before I remembered that I needed to water that tree. And I went downstairs and I was so apologetic. And I said, I'm going to give you some Reiki along with this water. So, again, Reiki's what a great way to open the senses, right? And to develop to throw open the doors of perception. And so I started giving Erica the palm tree Reiki. And as I looked at it, I saw the tree's aura, and it was this bright green cloud. And I literally like shook my head and like blinked my eyes. I'm like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? Yes, I was seeing the tree's aura. And I believe that two things were going on. One is that spirit already knows where we're going, right? Spirit knew that I was going to be going to that class, that I was going to be working intensely with plants. And I think that the tree was responding to that and giving me some sign that this was going to be successful, that I was going to enjoy doing that. And I will just never forget the sparkling emerald green, somewhat like the background that you chose, which when I saw it, I was reminded immediately of that experience. But you can use any of your clairs when you're working with trees, and even, asking the tree if you can taste a leaf. Obviously, you want to make sure it's an edible leaf, right? You don't want to taste something toxic, but tasting it, smelling it, touching it, um, closing your eyes and listening. There's all the senses can be used in working with trees, and it's so rewarding.
And it can be a tree that's within your vicinity, in your presence, or it could be a tree that's halfway around the world, or a tree that you've never, like, I don't think I've ever seen an olive tree. I don't think they grow in my area here. And a coconut tree, or I think we do have magnolias. And you were talking about the bay laurel. Where does the bay laurel grow?
Well, it's a Mediterranean plant. Like in your spice cupboard, you probably have a jar of bay leaves. And here in California, we have a lot of them. They're called California bay laurel. They're slightly different species, but they have really aromatic leaves. And they have been working with humanity for millennia, right? Like think about, we talked before about the laurel crown, right? That's made from those tree leaves, and they're considered really fortunate, and they're considered a wonderful reward for effort. So that tree has been working with human beings to help us develop, I just heard, a sense of honor, as well as our palates, right? Because we use it as a seasoning. So it's, yeah, the more I know about trees and human history, the more I wonder how much they have done to help us evolve, you know?
Absolutely. That is fascinating. I never considered that the laurel wreath around the head. That's amazing and so ancient and so
Yeah.
from that's amazing. Um, wow. It's it they do it's a vast subject, and what we want to do is just talk a little bit about the tree energy, and I wanted to be specific and let you know that it's not I started saying this, it's not like tree fairies or tree gnomes, it's not
No.
like tree spirits that uh the elementals that hang around the tree. It's the actual consciousness of tree, which is like a collective. And then there's also specific consciousness of oak, of laurel, of, and it would be like the consciousness, the energy, the vibration and frequency of these different trees. Um, and we thought it'd be fun to try and connect. Was there something else that you wanted to share with us before we started with the connection there, Daphne?
No, I'm ready. Let's talk to some trees.
Okay. So, if anybody here has um, any experience with trees that you wanted to, oh, okay. So T. Lynn says, I saw a woman channel the General Sherman redwood, said trees are the only species, life form, perhaps she was saying, that can safely cross all dimensions. I'm not sure what General Sherman redwood. Do you know what that is?
Yes, that is a very well-known redwood tree. I think this one is in California. And a lot of those big old trees have their own names. And General Sherman is one of the biggest ones. That I think that's really fascinating that that's the only species that can safely cross all dimensions, because trees are absolutely multidimensional entities, and not all of them are started on Earth. I've had some conversations with certain trees that they hint at cosmic origins, and they were. I, I'm just getting chills as I say this. They were deployed here, right? Like they were sent here to help change the body of the earth and give us this incredible topsoil, create these forests. They have their own missions, not unlike each of us, right? But theirs are certainly longer in scope and represent much bigger energies than individual humans. Yeah, I find that very credible that they can cross all dimensions. I don't know if they're the only species. Maybe that means the only species or life form on Earth that can safely cross all dimensions. I don't know. I think we know too little about the universe to be able to say that that is, the only species in the universe. But absolutely, trees, they're where it's at.
I know. I have to show a picture of the General Sherman just because I didn't know what it looked like. But it is like one of these, the biggest tree. I don't know if you can see my cursor here. And they have it. This says General Sherman, and this is people climbing on it. Um, and here it is. I mean, you can't get it in one shot. And I guess it's one of the largest trees and
Yeah.
really taken care of and preserved and honored. That's amazing. That really
Does it
is
say where
amazing.
it is? What
That's,
what park is it in? Oh my God, look at
I
those
don't know.
photos.
I do remember visiting, is it Yosemite? Here, National Park. Let me just see. Sequoia National Park.
Okay. Yeah. I I mean, that's one of the, you know how people travel to see eclipses? I travel to see trees. So, I was just talking to somebody about going to Utah to see Pando. Pando is the nickname for the largest organism on, I think the largest tree organism, because it's an aspen grove. But when we see a grove or a forest, that is actually one tree with many. It exists underground, and then all the trees that you see above the ground are just offshoots of the um, the root, the heart of that tree. So it's enormous, and it's well worth visiting.
What is that? Um, Let me just show you. So I did not, I'm springing this on Daphne, you guys. I did not, just for some reason, this is popping into my mind. And this is Devil's Tower National Monument. And you guys remember this from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Do you think this was originally a tree? A lot of, there's, do you,
Uh,
I mean, I don't know if you have any kind of a
yeah.
gut instinct.
Um,
Um,
I I don't, but what I know of geology, I mean, that to me that looks like a core, a plug in a volcano, and the volcano has eroded around it. But I don't know. So wow, I didn't realize it stuck out of the landscape that much. That's amazing.
mhm, mhm. I've always wondered that. So,
Yeah.
okay, just wondered. It's and one time I did a spiritual journey for um a fellow content provider or content creator, and he was um I don't know how to explain it, but he we encountered a world, like we were traveling through dimensions and worlds and realms, and we encountered a realm, and he opened the door, and there was all of these fawns and um I guess greenery. I guess they're fawns, right? All different kinds of greenery, and the kind that are underneath, that are protected by shade, sort of like you would see in the Amazon or something. I'm saying fawn, but that doesn't sound like the right name. Um, and there was a bunch of greenery, and um I we wanted to experience, like, why this was being shown, and what this meant to his life. And it was it was the realm, or the place that these greenery fawns would were originated. That there was a whole planet or a whole realm of these, and that they were seeded here on Earth from that original realm or dimension, and that blew my mind. And I'm like, of course, if we're seated here, and all the different species are seated here, and if it doesn't work out, then more things come in. This is an experimental Earth, and the ecology, I don't know what I want to say, but the whole uh you know all of the ecosystems that work together, and how we're seated together, and how we grow and work together. It really was mind expanding, if nothing else. Do you have any experience with species and nature being seated here?
Yes, yes. There are galactic origins for a lot of plants. In my experience, Joshua trees come to mind. Those plants that you see mostly like out in the Palm Springs, Palm Desert kind of area, in California. Those trees have amazing intergalactic energy.
Wow.
Saguaro cacti. Yeah, because I wondered, I'm like, are those trees? And they are not trees. They are from somewhere else. They are amazing. But Jean, what you were just talking about is really calling to mind something that, to reference what you said earlier, um, are that we should take care of this body. If you think about how much effort and how much thought and how much care has gone into creating this living paradise that is the earth, and we are here so briefly to enjoy it, and we're given this physical vehicle to explore and interact with the trees and with the earth and all the elements. I mean, it's such a precious gift to be here in this body, in this life, even at this chaotic moment that we find ourselves in. And there is such grace and joy in connecting with the trees that, yeah, it is really awe-inspiring that we've been entrusted with life here on this planet. And yeah, I hope that human beings can appreciate that. And you know, it's also calling to mind, like, people think of indigenous people, people who are still in their traditional lands, living in their traditional ways. We are all indigenous to the earth, and all of us are responsible for caring for it. We can't just walk away from it because we're highly industrialized and, we get our food from DoorDash, right? We still have a responsibility to reconnect with nature and have that relationship so that we understand how remarkable it is and how much love there is for us to put us in this position. And I mean, I can't think of a better antidote to boredom or feeling like, life's over. It's not. There is so much life to experience and to enjoy.
Mhm. And I think
Sorry,
that
I
this
took a
is
turn there.
I think this is part of the awakening. We're awakening to understand the magnitude of us being here in human containers as a soul experiencing this earth, you know? It's
Yeah.
it's something just to consider and to keep an open mind. We all have cars, we all have family, we all have houses, we all have jobs, we understand, but it's really worth taking a moment to contemplate, to maybe meditate on, or when you're out and you're passing by, to really take that split second to show that appreciation and that wonderment, really. Because we do take it for granted, and it just is our conditioning that is the reason why we take it for granted. But not all societies do. There's some
Yeah.
societies that respect the water and the food and the trees and the fruit and everything that nature has to provide for us. So Teresa says, when I visited Jerusalem in 2006, I saw an olive tree that is 3,000 years old, according to the guide.
I mean, if you want to feel young, go hang out with trees, right? Like this mother tree has been caring for humans for 3,000 years, feeding us, providing wood, providing oil, and shade. I mean, don't underestimate the value of shade, right? Shade is really crucial, especially in the Middle East. Wow, you need shade. Wow, that's amazing, Teresa. Congratulations. You can, by the way, you can connect with that tree anytime you feel like meditating with it. That would be remarkable to hear what that tree has to say.
Absolutely. Um, I do know that Terry Renner from Holding Your Space and I connected to the Bodhi tree that is it Lanhaya? What is it called?
Lahaina, mhm,
Lahaina.
Maui. Yeah.
And right after all the big fires and stuff, and we connected to see if it was okay. And it said, like, of course I'm okay. I needed to be here for the people. I needed to represent everything that used to be. If I were to perish, then what would the people have to hold on to? And he also, or the tree, the Bodhi tree also said that it had protection from the fire, because everybody's like, we don't know why this tree didn't perish with everything, because there was fire all around it. And he said that there was like angels that were holding the fire away from it, to protect it, because of its majesty and its importance, and its the people there recognize and honor this tree because of its age and its majesty and uh its energy, its presence, you know.
Whoever wrote that movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, they were so wise to put a tree as one of the most beloved characters. Remember that
Aw.
Groot, right? And that's because trees and humans go together, no matter where we are in the galaxy.
Wow. Wow. So let's go ahead. It's time. We're right at the 30-minute mark. So what I'd like to do is just to suggest, and you guys, let me know. What we wanted to do is to maybe connect together, to connect to a specific type of tree and perhaps get a message for humanity, get a message for the community here, get a message for you personally, similar to the way that we connected to the tree in Hawaii. I'm just going to say Hawaii, and that it told us, how important it was, and how all of the people loved it so much that, and how it knew how important it was to all the people. Like it transcended fire and destruction because of the love and the importance and the give and take and the shared respect that it had. I mean, so I don't know. I don't know what type of a tree. I think I would like to try and connect with that laurel, the bay laurel. That would be really
Mhm.
neat for myself. But I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys? Do you want to like just mention a tree and we get a message for the collective, or do you want to mention a type of tree like an olive tree or a coconut tree? Or I do have. Um,
While you're glancing through the comments, I want to respond to Kelly, the mystic next door. Hi, Kelly. She suggested fronds and ferns when we were talking about fawns. Kelly, I could talk to you for an hour about ferns and their consciousness. And one of the ways that I've been working with them is through a flower essence that's made actually from ferns in Hawaii of a particular type of fern. And it is totally changing my mind about that class of plants. And yeah, so another
well, I
time we'll
think
have to talk about
I think
ferns.
that's what I was trying to say. I was saying fronds and I meant ferns. I think when I was trying to tell you about the spiritual journey that we went on to see that, and we went into that realm where that's all there were ferns and all those green,
Yeah,
luscious plants, and that they told us that they were seated here. Blew
yeah,
my mind. Like you walk around for like 2 or 3 days and say, did those ferns really tell us that they were seated here? Like we
yes.
would never have. You never would have ever thought that in a million years, and the message came in like that. It changes my perspective, it changes my energy, it changes um, my whole being, my whole
Yeah.
outlook, and and hopefully it does with you. Oh, look who's here. Hi, Stacy.
Oh, Stacy, so good to see you. Thanks for coming
We're just
by.
getting to the good stuff, Stacy. Um,
Yeah, I'm looking at this story that Craig Dixon is putting in here about driving from Bryce Canyon, and the trees change shape because you were seeing perhaps their true nature. Yeah, although I do have a particular pet peeve. I don't like when trees are portrayed as evil. They're never, ever, ever evil. No, it's our fear that is being reflected back to us. Um,
yeah, or Hollywood.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hollywood gets so many things wrong.
Mhm. And I think that sleep
Yeah,
deprivation would morph things as well. But I think that just consider that the trees may have been protecting you and supporting you on your drive when you were sleep deprived.
uh,
He said it
yeah.
happens
Although
while
if you were
driving.
on the, sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say if he was on the Navajo reservation, there's actually no telling what he was seeing. Probably not the trees. There's a
Oh,
lot of magic happening there. Yeah,
oh, interesting. Okay, so Diane G says, what about the Acadia? Acacia
acacia.
trees?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know what DMT is. Acacias, I have special love for acacias. So the ones that are in southern Arizona are so beautifully fragrant, right? And trees do not have to make scent, right? But I think this a lot about flowers too. Like nature didn't have to give us so many beautiful, unique versions of flowers and trees that it didn't have to make those incredible scents. But when you smell an acacia, it's just It is a form of aromatherapy, and we know that scent actually goes over the blood-brain barrier, right? So it's actually affecting our brains, and usually in a good way. Yeah, look at
So
those flowers. They're so
is,
fragrant.
and
Yeah.
they're, where did you say they were originally from?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot in Africa. That's a really classic acacia shape. In southern Arizona, we have smaller local
Okay,
varieties of acacia. So
this is
they have
saying
kind of,
African, like an
yeah,
African originated from,
yeah,
and they flower like this. Wow.
yeah. It's really
Wow.
beautiful scent. Diane, I think you're in the Philippines, right? Do you have a lot of acacia there?
And I think is DMT like a one of those mind altering like ayahuasca and DMT or something like that, like a plant
I don't.
medicine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of a unusual in the plant community. I don't see any reason to ingest those plants when you can just meditate with them. So so I will probably never take a mushroom that way.
Hmm. Hmm. So let's go ahead and connect with the acacia and see
Okay.
what we can pick up. And if anybody has any other suggestions that they'd like us to connect with, and we can, and you guys can tell us what you're getting as well.
Yeah. Plants with DMT are like ayahuasca. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Plants are master chemists. We don't even know half of what they're doing. Like coffee beans have 600 plus different chemical constituents, right? So we have so much to learn from plants. And acacia, oh my gosh. Yeah, I have a long history with acacia. I died under an acacia tree thanks to a leopard in Africa once.
What?
Um, yeah, it was okay. It was okay. It was a long time ago. I'm at peace with it. And yeah, they have a really athletic nature. Like when I connect with it, they feel really young and strong and flexible and um, you know, sporty, right? Like that's sort of the energy I get from them. And they seem young, right? Like there's a youthful quality to acacia. And I want to ask if acacia has a message for us. So you know how when you get a message from spirit, it's kind of like a packet, and there's layered messages in it, right? And you receive the whole thing, and then you have to discern the parts of it. And one of the first things I heard was keep going, like encouragement, keep trying, keep going, keep on keeping on. And the second thing I heard was every day is a new day. And the tree showed me itself waiting for the sun to rise, but basking in that light that comes before dawn. Stacy was talking to me about that light. Um, there's something about the light that you get right before dawn that is really beneficial and soothing to the body, the mind, the spirit. And I'm seeing the acacias standing there waiting for the sun to rise. And it's almost a worshipful moment. Like as soon as the sun comes up, they are in celebration with the sun and sharing gratitude. And they're almost like, older brothers and sisters, they're modeling this behavior for us. Like every day, wake up, greet the sun, be thankful, do your best, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. That's what I get. What about you, Jean?
Wow, that's really beautiful. Um, I think I'm going to need another minute, but I just want to say we do have enough trees. We have several suggestions from everybody. I have Valerie said redwood, KK said
Mhm.
ponderosa, Gina said a yew tree, and
Yeah.
Nancy said maple. And I think we're going to just see how far we go there. So I just wanted to put that out there. And let me go with the acacia tree and see what they want to tell us. I feel as though they're saying that strength does not equal size. And they're almost like referencing the General Sherman and saying, just because I'm not big and bold like General Sherman doesn't mean I don't have strength or vitality or worthiness. And that they, he's telling me that I'm saying he just as a general, they hold a special house for certain bugs and uh, other species to live in and feed off of. And part of it is the flowering too. And it's almost like uh, it's a they're a very giving nature, and they would not survive if they did not house other uh, I don't know what you would call sentient beings, and that they are almost like an ecosystem of their own, and they have birds and bugs and other things that live and thrive because they are there, and they thrive because the bugs and the birds would eat and pollinate, and it's like a symbiotic kind of a relationship, and they're just saying that this is something that. They just want us to consider and notice. And not every bug needs to have pesticide. And I don't want to go there because that's a whole nother terrible subject. But they're just saying it's not an invasion; it's a cooperation, and perhaps we can learn to live with this unity and this cooperation and this, live and let live and give and takes, like kind of a energy. That's what he wants to say.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things that you become really aware of in the Sonoran Desert, southern Arizona, Tucson area, is that plants grow in what are called guilds, right? So there's usually a tree, like a mesquite or a palo verde, and then beneath that tree are all the little cacti, all the little flowers, all the little succulents. Almost every saguaro grows up underneath a nurse tree. That's what they're called. And
Oh,
then as the nurse tree ages and falls away and, is recycled by the earth, that's when the cactus is old enough to withstand the sun. So the level of cooperation among species in a tree guild is a beautiful lesson for humanity. Everybody does their own part. We all work together. We all survive. If we don't, that's a different story. Yeah.
the circle of life as well.
Yes.
We're all
Yeah.
here for a certain time, a certain
Mhm.
place, and a certain reason. And wow,
Um,
wow,
I'm I don't know how to like put hearts on the comments. So many things I would love to put hearts on, but this one caught my eye. Jane the Seeker. Hi, Jane. Daphne is not lying. I'm like, okay, what do you mean, Jane? But thank you.
I, I
Jane
don't,
knows
I
how much
don't,
I love trees.
uh-huh, uh-huh. I,
That's so
I don't
cute.
recall where that was relating to. I think it was
I mean,
around the DMT comment,
oh,
perhaps.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
like we
yeah.
can just, yeah, we can
Yeah,
connect to
I'm
it.
I'm not judging people who do it. I'm just so sensitive to plant compounds that like when I take like this is a botch flower essence for hornbeam. I don't even take it. I just hold the bottle, and that's enough for me. So,
So
some go ahead.
KK says acacia feels light, a good reminder to remain playful and keep reaching out into the light. Wow.
Yes,
Full of branches that are all flourishing, flowing in the breeze. That's beautiful, KK.
it
And
is.
I invite everybody to just tune in and to set your intention, say, I would like to connect with the acacia tree and get a message. That was beautiful, KK.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much for sharing that. I love that.
Jane said when we did the plant
Ah,
meditation.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. I think, yeah, that was the one where yeah. Anyway, we'll talk
And
about it some other time.
was it before the flower essence?
Yeah, we did. You can use flower essences etherically, and you can also connect to plants through the quantum field and, through spirit. Oh, redwood. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and connect to the redwood.
And this time you share. Do you want me to share first or do you want to share first?
Either way, I was kind of monitoring the chat is why I was a little late behind, but you can share first, Daphne. You go ahead.
Clearly, those trees are very, very old. And the feeling that I'm getting from them is, first of all, these trees have a lot of gravitas, right? These are serious trees because they are old and filled with wisdom. But they're pointing me to the relationship they have with each other and how certain trees are shielding other trees and how they are sharing nutrients beneath the ground. And that's something that science didn't understand until most recently, that trees actually communicate with each other. And through the mycelial network in the forest floor, they are transferring nutrients to each other. And that way, the entire forest can survive. Even if one tree doesn't get enough light, doesn't get enough water, whatever, they are collaborating so that the most number of trees have the option of surviving and are able to thrive in that environment. And the sense I'm getting from them is that we do not understand forests. We are starting to get a picture of how complicated a forest is and all the organisms that make up a forest. But if we understood what forests actually do for us and for the planet, we would revere them like cathedrals. We would consider them places of worship. And that makes sense for a tree that old and serious to share that with us. And they know of my particular interest in forest bathing, which is something that came out of Japan. It's a therapy that they've used for cancer patients. And being in a forest for 1 hour once a month boosts their immune system enough that it's noticeable in their blood work. And the trees are saying that's just the beginning of the healing that can happen in a forest.
Yep, you can't put that in a bottle. That was really beautiful, Daphne. Thank you very much. I was picking up something a little similar, and what I was picking up was their vulnerability individually. They cannot survive alone. That they need the pack in order to survive, and that they look strong, they look large, they look mighty, but take them and away from the forest, and individually they're so vulnerable. It's like the larger they are, the harder they fall, and it's only because of the cooperation of all the other, not only the other redwoods, but the other trees and the other plant life and forest. I don't know what it organic material and um, um, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I was going to say something else. I can't think of the word, but that everything together works together in harmony. And this is what the redwoods were talking to me about. That this is where they gain their strength, and that they promised to all the other organisms that they would protect them with their strength, and all the other organisms protected them. Just very similar to what you were saying, but they told me the vulnerability that they truly feel, even though they look very majestic. I thought that was ironic.
Yeah, there's different forms of strength, right? It's not just tall, big, massive, strong, energy. There's our strength is being who we are and contributing what we have to contribute. And I think that's another lesson that nature is trying to teach us, right? There's not just one type of flower. There's not just one type of tree, and all of us make up a whole beautiful world.
And I found the word, it's ecosystem. I was saying organic, but I was meant to say ecosystem,
Yeah,
that they all work together. So thank you very much, Val. And
yeah,
KK says Ponderosa pine tree. Hmm. Let's see what Ponderosa pine tree has to say. I love the specific Ponderosa.
yeah.
So I'm getting a lot of scent and a lot of healing and a lot of uh, medicinal type of offerings that this pine offers, provides, and they are teachers, healers, and it was intended that we would utilize the sap and the byproduct of this tree for other uses. And um, it's almost like they may have even put that notion into our mind. Like, let's just say there's a man out on the mountain by himself, and he's building a log cabin, and he hurts himself, and he looks around, and perhaps it was the tree that said, "Here, use my sap for that cut you have." And so that's what I'm getting. I'm just going to stop there. That was interesting. How about
I
you,
love
Daphne?
that. Yeah, that I have been around a lot of ponderosa pine in Nevada, in particular, northern Nevada, and their energy feels, to me, it feels dry and light. Like there's this quality to it that is um, very well suited for the desert, right, and for dry, arid regions like the Sierra Nevadas. And it, I think you're right. I think it has been. I mean, it's a very generous species. We get a lot of different types of wood, or we make a lot of products from the wood that pine provides, and it's like a collaborator or co-creator with us, right? Like not only can my sap heal you, but these needles, if you get them at the right time, you can make a tea from them. There's just all these gifts that the tree wants to give us. And in return, they ask that we treat our bodies well, that we treat each other well, that we show gratitude, and that we make the most of the gifts that they give us. Yeah, wow. I've never connected with Ponderosa specifically, but I'll be back. They're really interesting.
That is amazing. That is really amazing. And how beautiful it is with, I mean, everything that we build out of the pine and the smell, and just how closely they work with humanity, where the others may not, and this one does. That's interesting. And how
Uh,
they, Mhm.
yeah, I think they also are drawing my attention to the pleasure that we get from the items that we build with it, and also that fragrance, because I'm smelling it really strongly right now. And it's like, yeah, this is for you. Enjoy, right?
Wow. Always intended to work closely with humanity. Okay, so we have a couple more. So the next one is the U, and
Yes.
then after that we have one more, and it's the maple. So let's see what the U has to offer. Is that it's more of like a bush, right?
It will pretend to be a bush if that's what we want from it, but no, it's a tree. Yeah, yeah. We see a lot of yew hedges
Right.
that they're cooperating with that, but that's not who they are at root.
Okay.
Yeah.
They say they're gentle, they're tender, they're approachable. Um, uh, and they have a tight knit network inside. Like it's almost like obviously the hedges, it's impossible sometimes to get through, so they're protective and tight knit. They're saying that um, it's not impossible, though. They're saying that it's not impossible to get to the other side, and they offer structure. Even though they're tender and gentle on the outside, the inside is very has a lot of structure and support. So get it. It's a little bit of a balancing. I think that overall it's about balance, and it's about um, tenderness with strength, and that we all need to be both. How about you, Daphne?
Yeah. Well, I was really happy that somebody put that in the chat as a tree to connect with, because we were talking earlier about the crossing into multiple dimensions and galactic sources. Yew tree is one of those species where it's almost incomprehensible. When I connect to you, um, I immediately I'm going into that energy of the Norse mythology of the world tree, where Odin was hung on it for 9 days, and so on and so forth. And that tree, sometimes people think it's an ash tree, but I suspect it was a yew. And the roots are in one part. It's like all the worlds, right? So that tree grows up through all of the different worlds in that cosmology. And I think you can spend the rest of your life studying what yew wants to teach us. It is practical. It has lessons for human beings in cooperation, in creativity, in growing communities and beautifying the world around us. And then there's the whole other layer of spiritual growth and transcendence, and refining our understanding of who humans are, what we're here to do, who we are as individuals, what we're here to do as an individual. Um, yeah, yeah, very, very, very wise old species of tree. Yeah, I'm in awe of yew trees.
You can't hear me.
Diane
Sorry,
put
I
a,
was saying. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Diane put a message in that these trees are from, show how nice and gentle they are. Yes, yeah.
And
Yes, your Norse is probably better than mine, so I'm not going to even attempt to to pronounce that. So thank you. Yeah, yeah. I love
mhm.
trees, and they love us, right? Like if you're, you are lonely, your friends, you have had a recent betrayal in a relationship. I mean, you can't do better than have a tree as a friend. They will soothe your heart.
Mhm. And
Mm.
speaking of friends soothing your heart, this is Nancy of Crohn's Intuition. And Nancy had a tree that she rescued and um, grew very close to and fond of, and the tree just loved her right back. And I'm not doing your story justice. I don't know if it was on. I think it was on our show. So if you want to go back and see, I think it was yesterday yesterday's show with Nancy of Crohn's Intuition in the very beginning. And Nancy, I don't know if we said it on air, if it was before or after the show. I'm sorry if we didn't, but that was a beautiful story. And so let's connect with maple. And maple has many different varieties, and whatever variety pops into your mind first, I would say is the one to connect with. Oh, another one that works very closely with the like the maple syrup is what I was getting, and the maple leaf of Canada, and the maple um, all of its fruits and byproduct that it offers, and how it withstands the 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 temperatures and the weather, the climate conditions. And it's almost like it helps it to thrive. It helps it to build new structure to withstand the next bout of um, um, weather conditions. And I feel as though it has morphed and evolved. This tree has evolved and has changed and built protection and developed things within its own DNA, so to speak, in order to prevent extinction. Wow. And they're here to show us how to evolve as well. We can learn something from them. Interesting.
Yeah, I immediately went to sugar maple too. Like when I think I was probably 7 or 8 when my family drove across Canada in the fall, and just heart aching beauty, right? Those trees turning all those colors, and it shaped my life, right? The beauty of those forests just made such a huge impression on me. And maple to me feels very feminine, very maternal, very loving, like literally giving her heart's blood to us to nourish us. And maple syrup, people are like, oh, no sugar. But let me tell you something, your brain runs on glucose, right? All of our brains run on glucose. And maple syrup in particular has saved humanity over and over again during famines on this continent, right? Other species are doing that on other continents, but maple, oh, she's giving me chills. She loves us so much. And I feel like she's confirming that, yes, they have evolved in part because humans needed them, right? Because we needed them. And they're showing me a chart of like the weather, right? Like spring, summer, fall, winter, right? And the temperature dips. And the trees look like they are dancing with those temperatures, right? The sap rises and falls, like it's a dance. There's a definite rhythm to it. And it's slow compared to human rhythms, but it is still a dance. And it's still a form of, I've already used the word worship, but it's reverence for the earth and for the situation. We're all here together, the sentient beings of the trees, sentient humans. Although I would say we're not as sentient as we think, because we're ignoring all this stuff that's going on around us, all these other sentient beings. But oh, I love maple. Thank you, Nancy, for bringing maple forward. And your Jean was telling me a little bit about your story, and I refer people to the video you guys did to hear it directly. But I know of several times when trees have helped people heal. Like many of us in this community have a friend who feels like a tree healed her. And I am thinking of the morning in March, just this past year, where I was in Canada and I had just gone to visit my sister who was dying. I had visited her. I'd come back to Canada. And the next day, her husband texted me early in the morning and said, she's gone, right? And I looked out the window, and right in front of the house in Canada where I was staying was a cherry tree. And it had gone from zero leaves or buds to full bloom overnight, the night my sister died. And people were driving in from other neighborhoods, stopping and taking a picture of this tree because it was so lush and so beautiful. And not a single tree on the street had anything else on it. So that tree helped deliver a message from my sister, right? So trees can collaborate with us in this life and in the next. And yeah, again, just so loving and so helpful. And thank you, Diane. We had a
Yeah.
really great relationship, and It was her. She was always doing things before me, even though she was 3 years younger. She left home before me. She got married before me. She had kids, and she left this world before me. So I learned a lot from her. But thank you. Yeah.
So the tree showed you that the life of your sister is celebrated, and to give you something to raise your spirits and console your your heart, your broken heart, at the
Yeah.
same time, and it rescued you right back, is what I'm hearing from that. And how lovely, what a beautiful experience at such a beautiful time. And I encourage everyone to take a moment and to connect with a tree in your neighborhood, in your area, even if it's a childhood tree that you remember hiding behind or climbing all the time. You can, you know, energetically connect with your intention to go back to that tree. I remember there was a tree in our backyard that it was a very low branch, and we used to climb up to that branch just to jump off into the pile of leaves. And the other story that I want to share is there's a tree out here, and I said it before, but I want to say it again, that in my front yard, that it used to have two branches, and during a storm or something, one of the branches fell off, and we had to cut the branch. And it was, it was pretty big. So when I was learning about connecting with trees, I went and I asked the tree, did that hurt when you lost that branch? Was it painful? Is it still a reminder? And the tree said, oh no, it was only there for the time that I needed to balance me for me to get to this size. It's okay that it's no longer there. I'm able to continue on my own. And it's like we sort of sometimes impress human emotion on these things, where really they're here to teach us sort of a more balanced or a different type of perspective that would help us to understand and keep things in perspective. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. I love that, Jean. That's beautiful. Yeah.
But that is all the time that we have today. I want to thank you, Daphne, for coming in and sharing all of the messages and the information and beautiful. You want to tell them a little bit about what you do and what events you might have coming up next?
Oh, thank you. Yes. I feel called to mention this, that I'm putting together a course for mediums, and it's developing plant allies to help you with mediumship. And I don't have a date yet. I'm still creating the course, but it will be, I'm hoping to offer it this fall. So if you're at all interested in something like that, you can email me at relaxwithdaphne@gmail.com, and I'll put you on the list as soon as I know more about the content, the length of the course. Yeah, I'll email you and we'll start a conversation, and you'll be the first to hear about it when I do it. But this is something that's been on my heart for quite a while, and the plants are encouraging it, and they want to help us because they know how important the work is for mediums. You are needed. If that is the work that you do for others, it is so, so needed, and the plants want to help you. So that's what I'm up to.
Wow. Wow. And you also offer a summer of relaxation. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, that is a series that includes, I've got 2 more sound baths coming up. There's some digital gifts, there's exclusive videos that are coming online shortly, and it's all free. We live in a really, chaotic world right now, and there's a lot that is discouraging people, and, my goal is to help people relax, because that's when you can access not only healing, but also your true nature, and to know that you are here for a reason and that you are absolutely loved and important in this life. So, and all that starts with relaxation.
Yep. Letting go of the chaos for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I will be on tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow in the morning. I'm on with Ginger Faye Tarot at 11:30 on Sunday morning. And then I have Valerie from Illumination Portal coming on at 2:30 Eastern. And then I also have Val from Dragonfly Crystals coming on to talk about the ascension, 3D, 4D, 5D, what is going on with the shift and the humanities evolution, all that amazing, wonderful stuff that I'm really looking forward to chatting with all three of these ladies. And please do come back and see me. It's SunPsychic Jean, and if you want to go over and subscribe to Daphne, it's Relax with Daphne. That's her YouTube page. And I will also put, oh, she put her email in the chat as well. I do have her information in my show notes, and I'll also put the link to the Summer of Relaxation link
Oh,
again for you to sign up, and then you get emails when they're going to occur. This way everybody's informed, and I thought that was brilliant the way that you organized that.
thank you.
So
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Yeah, so we don't have to go and look for something. We're notified and
Yeah.
reminded. It's beautiful. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. All right, everybody, enjoy your evening and thanks for spending your time with us. Take care now.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you enjoy this content, hit like, share, and subscribe. Remember to click the bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks again. Bye.